What you guys are doing. The mere fact you're still in high school and doing college courses, to me, is very admirable. So all of you should be giving yourselves a round of applause. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background on myself, and then we're going to go kind of through and discuss how I got to where I have, which where I'm at is nothing crazy in life. There's plenty of people far beyond that and all that, but it definitely was not an easy road to be where I am. October 25th, 1993. 13 April 2016, 11:05 a.m. Then 31 October 2017. 3 different dates. A lot of different dates that jump out in my head for where I've been and how things have affected me. But those are very critical dates in my life that stand out to me in regards to kind of where you guys are at and where you're going in your lives, starting with today. Significance of October 25th, 1993. I was about a year older, maybe a couple years older than most of you here. Yeah, let's get the jokes out of the way. Yeah, I knew Godzilla when he was a little baby lizard. I remember him crawling around on the table. All that good mess. But anyway, that's when I joined the Navy. Just a terrified young kid, fresh out of high school. Why did I go in? Well, there's some silly reasons on it. But in the end, I knew I was not ready to go to college. I was burned out in school. I was just tired of it. I wanted something different. I wanted to go and see the world. And at that time, the Navy was being pushed pretty big, so I'd heard about these guys, Navy SEALs. I saw a movie about it, thought that was pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's not actually what actually happened. When you get there, what's in the movies is a very small part of it. But anyway, I go in, I decided, I don't want to just go in and go be a SEAL. What if I get injured? I want something to fall back on. So I chose what they call the SEAL source rating at the time. That had an electronic background. So in my first 2 years in the Navy, I was going through A school, C school, that's the different designations they have. And I got an electronic background through that. What they don't tell you is once you go to do that, they own you for that job. You're not going to get to go to be in the teams or anything like that. So I went to a ship for 5 years. Then I left and went to BUDS. How many of you guys know what BUDS is? 1. Okay. BUDS stands for Basic Underwater Demolition / SEAL School. It's been around for a very long time. There used to be 2 of them, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. But then in the 60s, Kennedy, in 1964, created the SEAL teams. There used to be UDT, you hear about World War II stories, guys going in, blowing up obstacles on the beach and stuff like that in Normandy. Oh, you guys have heard that, right? That was UDT guys. They went away in the early 80s, and it was only SEALs after that point. But where we're at is, I did 5 years in the regular Navy, traveled the world on the ship, got to see everything, and then I went to BUDS. I was in class 234. That may resonate with some of you, I don't know, most of you are pretty young, but that was the National Geographic for show they did on Buzz. It was a 6-part series. I was in that. I did not finish with that class. I ended up quitting before the end of the class. Some issues with my family, my son having heart problems, things like that. But the point was, I quit and I came back. But during that class, I'd been rolled from 232 to 234 because during Hell Week they were doing med checks. And they pull you out and they do a little med check on you. I had stress fractures in my fingers. Kind of a painful ordeal, but I was going through it. I didn't know I had it until the doctor yanked on my leg and I came off the table. They roll you back and go to the next class, which is 234, but stuff's not healed. It's the same thing. Now I'm having problems at home, all that. From the moment is headspace. Anytime you're tackling something, it's very important you have the right headspace. Don't just mumble through it as you're lost. Get back and regroup. So, we go back to the fleet, do some security up in the beach, yada yada, and then I go back to Buzz. Well, they're not happy about it. I had been there before, and now I'm outranking most of the instructors. So, they gave me a lot more extra love that they don't normally give everybody. But anyway, good times. Graduate Buzz, go to the East Coast SEAL team, started out SEAL Team 10, and right before I get there, June 28th, 2005, I told you I was there at Buzz before, there were some guys in there. Does anybody in here know what June 28th, 2005 is? There's a movie about it. How many of you guys have heard the movie Lone Survivor? A few of you? You're not going to stand there talking much because I knew all those guys except for one. And the only one that I knew is the only one that survived. The only one that I did not know is the only one that survived. Okay? So right after that happens, when I check into my first team, everybody's riled up, they're ready to go. Go to combat. And we did. One of those things where you're out probably about 4 or 5 nights a week in Iraq, out chasing bad guys. After 4 or 5 nights a week, I would say at least 3 of those, you're getting shot at or you're shooting. A combination of the two. That right there will give you a test of a man's character. Most guys either freak out, or you get eerily calm, and everything becomes very clear what you need to do. Okay? You get very eerily calm because that's what you need to do in order to have the right headspace to get done what you need to get done. So, went on in. A little bit later during my military career, started my own business. I also got my pilot's license. Always had a passion for flying. Then I went through some courses in the Navy. I was in the teams. I was coming up through the ranks. I was a communications guy, operating radios and all that. I was also a sniper. That's fun. Some of course, what babies make it out to be good. It's good training. It gives you a lot of discipline. Later on, I went through what we call special reconnaissance training. Not quite sure how to describe it, but that's where you're having a lot of behind closed door meetings with local nationals getting intelligence on whatever bad guys are doing and what kind of plans are coming up with. And you're trying to alter those plans without actually having to shoot them. So, the other day, April 13th, 2016, 11:05 a.m., Emporia, Virginia. We're doing our training jump, requalification jump. do every few months. You know, you have to do it every 6 months or otherwise you lose your jump pace, stuff like that. It's not so much about the jump pace, it is about staying proficient at a skill like that gets you killed. Well, I'm coming in on the final, getting ready to land, a little bit over 100 feet off the ground. There's a new guy kind of above me and behind me, and I look at where they're going. Hits my parachute, snags my pilot chute on his, completely collapses my parachute. Okay? It jerked me so hard because he was going the other direction that I remember looking down at my toes and I could see the horizon and the tree line. So then I started free falling backwards. A couple of big windmills that get turned over. And I'm thinking, if my chute opens now, I'm going to be okay. It didn't open now. As I'm accelerating, I've got to hold my risers, which is what goes up to the parachute, which is four of them. You have two in the front, two in the back. Then you have little bottles attached to them and kind of fly your chute. I'm yanking on my risers trying to get anything to open up. And I remember thinking in my head as I'm falling, if it opens now, I'm okay. If it opens now, I'm okay. And then, after I got 2 good jerks in, I'm like, if it opens now, I'm still breaking my legs, my pelvis, and possibly my back. And it didn't open. So as I'm coming down, we're trained to go through jump school to do what they call PLL, parachute landing pole. So where you put your feet and knees together and kind of throw your hips out to one side so that when you hit the ground, your body kind of disperses the energy out to the side and you roll instead of just piling in. Well, I've known through my training that I was going so fast at this point in time that I had to throw my legs out to the side while I'm still in the air in order for this to work at all. I knew I was coming out of there with stuff broken. There was no two ways about it. But I knew if I tried to do as they show you in school, stay straight and do it, I was just going to be a pile of mush on the ground. So here I am, concrete, coming up at me. Yes, it was concrete. I ended up hitting concrete about 3 feet from the grass where it had been raining for 3 days and was soft and bushy. But as I'm coming down, at about 20 to 30 feet above the ground, the front right corner of my parachute reopened, just the corner. But what that did was give me a very violent jerk forward and kind of to the right and put me in spin at the same time. So when I hit the concrete, I couldn't begin to tell you how fast I was going. I've never been hit so hard in my life. The best way I can describe it is having a tractor trailer doing 90 miles an hour down the freeway with a concrete block on the front of it and stepping out in front of it. So when I hit at that angle. My right foot stayed planted. Remember I told you I was spinning. Spun around 180 degrees. My foot didn't move. So my right fibula broke about halfway through. It split all the way down the middle to the bottom, close to my ankle. And then it finished breaking up top where it originally started. My butt and my reserve parachute, which is conveniently packed, tight as a rock. It's hard as a rock. If you were to touch it, you would think it was a rock. That's how tight they packed. It's conveniently positioned in my lower back. My butt and my lower back, where that parachute is, hit the concrete at the same time. I heard my back break when I hit the ground. I broke a wedge off my L5 vertebrae. My L4 split in half. And my L3 burst into 3 big pieces and a bunch of little ones kind of floating around. But I remember laying there. My whole body felt like it was on fire at first. I'm not even certain I'm still alive at this looking up at the blue sky and thinking, I'm in dismay. Well, I started doing the check. My right arm's working. My left arm's working. My legs really felt like they're on fire. My back is burning. I lift my left leg up and I move it around. I'm like, well, that's cold. I lift my right leg up. I hear a bunch of crunching and stuff. I see my foot dangling over there, and I try to rotate it up, which burned even more. And I'm like, well, I had a few choice words for that. Says it's not working anymore. So I'm laying there, and I remember thinking to myself, if I were in a combat zone, could I still fight right now? I don't know why I was thinking that, but that's what I was thinking. Maybe it's because of the way we've been trained. I'm like, yeah, I can still grab my gun and shoot, but I'm really not getting on the movement. But the guy runs over, checks me out, and says, hey, are you okay? I'm like, nope. And he's like, did you fall? Yep. Well, it was the dude that put my chute. He didn't know that my pilot chute had snagged on his gear and collapsed. And then me falling over. It was a little bit over 100 feet is the general consensus on what everybody came up with. Some people said much higher, but the lowest altitude anybody came up with was 100 feet. Because it's a guesstimation. Anyway, significant day for me. April 13th. 2016 at 11:05 a.m. So, me being kind of determined, loving my job, being all fired up. They sent me to the hospital, screws in my leg, and all that fixed. I got 3 rods to this day, 3 rods and 8 screws in my back. I fused my L2 through my L5. I'm willing to bet that none of you in here would have ever guessed any of that when I walked in here. Within 6 months of that accident, I was back to running on my own 2 feet. Okay? It took a little bit. That was determination. There were several factors that go in with that. And it was listening to what some other people said. This is a bad situation where people get addicted to narcotics. There's other guys I've seen that were in the teams, that's what happened. I attribute it to a couple of things. 1, drive, and 2, I was off all my narcotics by week 6. It kind of felt like my body needed to feel what it needed to do to heal me. And for me, I felt like it worked out pretty good. Because not only am I alive today, but I can still run. I'm not running a 6-minute mile anymore, but I can run. So, that was a little bit of a significant story for me in that time frame. The next, October 31st, 2017, 18 months later. Significance of that, that's when I retired. I did 24 years active duty, and that's when I retired. It was October 31st, 2017. So, I kind of want to go by all 3 of those days. And there's something that all of them have in common for me. Fear. Humility. Perseverance. This is a question for all you guys. What do you think fear has to do with any of those days? Anybody? Fear for how your life is going to turn out from then on. That is correct. How many of you, when you applied for this course that you're in, how many of you were in fear when you were doing it? I would say probably most of you. And what were you afraid of? Maybe not getting into the course? Failure? To me, failure is afraid you're going to fail, so you don't want to start, right? Sometimes it's indecision mixed in there with it. Man, do I need to go this way? Do I need to go that way? What am I going to do that works? And then you have excuses. Because you're worried about failing, so you don't want to try it. So you come up with excuses not to do it. All of you may have had a little bit of that when you were applying for this program. But all of you overcame it, and therefore you're here, right? Humility. Humility to get through anything is recognizing and accepting the fear. It's okay to be afraid. That's fine. What is being brave? And this is a question for you. I want somebody to give you an answer. What is your definition of being brave? It's doing what you need to do even when you're afraid of it. Okay, that's brave. You're terrified. It can come out bad. Man, my God, was sorry. It can come out bad, but you're going to step up and do it anyway. That's your bravery. So in order to get through these things, especially like when you got to get through your course, you're going to need perseverance. How do you get through that? Let's dissect Buzz. Buzz is miserable. If you guys haven't looked at it, just Google Buzz. B-U-D-S. Capital letters all the way. Okay? It was B-U-D/S. It's miserable. It's straight up 6 months of beating you down every day, not physically with a bat, but you're doing thousands of push-ups every day, and bear crawling all over the place, and you're wet, and you're sandy, you're in cold water, everything is chigged, you're bleeding, everything sucks. That's Buzz. Those are things you've got to go through. That's just the entrance exam at Buzz, or to become a SEAL. How do you get through that? Did I want to quit? Yeah, I want to quit. They have the highest attrition rate out of all the military is Buzz, because it's the one course you can go to, where you can just straight up quit, because they don't want you there, you don't want to be there. Okay, so that's, everybody wants to do it and be it, but a lot of them don't, because they quit because it's not what they thought. It's miserable. But you know what? When I got through it, this is what you guys need to do with your program. It doesn't matter. Like, it's kind of like, how do you eat an elephant? Man, I wouldn't eat an elephant, but, you know, how do you eat it? Go ahead. Exactly. One bite at a time. You just get started. You do it. Don't look at the big picture. Like Buzz, I had to look at that like, hey man, this is just an entrance exam, and this is not what I'm going to be doing the rest of my military career. I'm not going to be running down the beach with a log on it, you know. No, this is just to prove I can do the job. So, what I did is, I'm going to say right now, anybody ever tells you, ever meet another SEAL, and they tell you they never thought about quitting, and but they're lying. Everybody has thought it's past their mind. It's how did they react to it and cope with it. What matters. Okay? For me, like first phase, Buzz is made up of 3 phases. First phase is just basic, and then you just beat the snot out of you for a few weeks. Second phase, they teach you how to do diving and dive on these underwater breather rigs so you don't emit the oxygen bubbles and tell us. Third phase is land warfare. They teach you basics of maneuvering and shooting and things like that with other guys. But going back to the first phase, the one where they beat you down, when you're in there, you're doing evolutions like in the morning, it might be log PT. You're on the beach, you're in and out of the water all the time, you have these heavy logs, and there's 5 of you in a boat, or 6 of you, you're carrying this log, and it's miserable. And you're doing all these exercises, and it's the first time you do it. Then after that, they move on to maybe some other miserable kind of thing they facilitate, whether it be regular PT. So anyway, sorry guys. What you need to do is I just look at it on evolution sometimes. Because I can do anything in 2 or 3 hours. Right? And that's what I did. That's how I got through eating that. And so I guess Tom up here. Basically, perseverance, make a plan. That's how you get through it. Make a plan, because failing to make a plan is planning for failure. All right? Once you get into that plan, it's not working out well, reevaluate it, and then modify it to something different. Because if what you're doing is not working out, reevaluate, modify, try that plan, and rinse and repeat. That is correct. Hell Week is like their 4th week class. You're up on Sunday, and they give you 1 hour of sleep on Wednesday, 1 hour of sleep on Thursday. Other than that, you're up 24 hours a day from Sunday through Friday, doing a lot of rigorous exercises, carrying logs, those things like that that are miserable.
And I ask that because if you just kind of take that in for just a second, Ron, you think about if we gave you an hour of sleep Sunday and then 1 on Thursday, I don't know about you, I would be about out of my mind. Raise your hand if you think you would be struggling mentally. And think about what this man has been through in his training. So think about your grit, your presence, and your achievement. And here's the last one, Mr. Casey. Don't hurt me if I put you on the spot here, right? But let's say you're in an elevator. You got 30 seconds to give your elevator speech. One of these youngsters, great students here, have gotten on that elevator, and you can tell that maybe they're just having some self-doubt. Because wouldn't we agree that teenagers today, y'all are dealing with some stuff that maybe we didn't have to deal with? But somebody steps on that elevator, Mr. Casey, and you can tell that they're doubting themselves, they're in a bad place. You got 30 seconds to change their lives. What would you say?
Uncommon man, or a common man with an uncommon desire to succeed. That's all you need. Figure it out in your head and make a plan. Make that plan that we were talking about. Reevaluate it, modify it, start it. And you'll get it. That's how you meet that